Evelyn to Philip, March 1st, 1944. Darling hubby, your immense February 22nd letter arrived this afternoon while I was in town, and it was the final touch to a perfectly perfect day. At least it was for me. Today was a year since Tante Shush passed, and I'm glad I have something better to remember this March 1st by. I wrote the envelope to this letter this morning, little dreaming that I would have the typewriter at my disposal this evening. It took the repairman exactly 2 minutes to put this thing in order. That plus a new ribbon, all black, cost me $3. It's much less than I thought it would be. He said I could get at least $100 for the typewriter if I decided to sell it, and that after the war it would only be worth about $40. Do you think I should? However, I would positively want to get another brand new one after the war. I could sell it and put the money into a bond and then cash it in after the war. I'll also talk it over with my mother. Uncle Nish bought B a nice portable but paid $50 for it. And now for the high spot of my letter. I went downtown with Sarah this afternoon after putting Adele to sleep and bought and bought and bought 3 things, big things: a coat, shoes, dressy, and a handbag. Now for details. I saw the enclosed ad in the paper and really went for the backless, toeless shoe pictured in the center and the handbag. Can you picture me paying $9 for shoes at I. Miller's? Well, that's exactly what I did. The heel is not nearly as high as demonstrated. In fact, I'd say it was half the size. It's a high heel, but comfortably so, and one of the most flattering, good-looking pair I've ever possessed. They are a rich brown tone, and I bought them mainly for my fur coat. I'm getting ahead of myself, though. I left the house at 12:15 and met Sarah at Snellenberg's at 1. The one single coat that she had seen was still there, reduced from $40 to $15. I can't get over it except that the coat is rather soiled and will need cleaning immediately. Fitted me perfectly. The sleeves have to be lengthened just a trifle for my long arms, and I bought it. It's a very light beige color, double-breasted, with a very low-cut sports collar, 2 rows of 3 large tan-colored buttons, 2 deep pockets with flaps, and a small inside pocket on the left breast. The back has a small wide belt that holds in place 2 large pleats on either side of the back. It has raglan shoulders, well padded, that make me look like a football player or something, and very flattering lines. I hope to have a snap of myself wearing it as soon as we have some nice weather. March came in like a lion, for it was windier than windy, and I don't mean maybe. The material is 100% wool, very soft and good looking, and the lining is a lovely rich satin. On our way out, I suggested we pass the handbag counter and spied a bag very similar to the one pictured in the ad. Cost $4.95. Since there is a tax to go into effect on bags, and since I haven't a decent one, I decided to get one right then and there. It has 4 pulled-in pleats in the front and the zipper top. I yanked the handle off already. That's the kind of junk they put out today, and I think I can fix it myself. The leather, oh yeah, is fairly nice and should wear well. It matches the shoes perfectly. The bag pictured was very tiny and not half as nice as the one I bought. I bought the coat and bag on Betty's charge account, as my check did not come through today, and if it doesn't show up tomorrow, they are going to hear from me. I don't have to pay Betty till April 15th. We walked, or were blown, down Chestnut Street to get the subway when we chanced to pass I. Miller's, and I recalled the ad when I saw the shoes displayed in the window. Luckily, I had my ration stamp with me. I tried them on, liked them, and bought them, just like that. I'm still in a daze, but it feels so good. That's the best remedy for what ails me, especially when I go at it so wholeheartedly. It's only the beginning, for I'm sorely in need of several dresses, which I fully intend to buy in the near future. I'm working all day for Miss Hahn tomorrow, and it will help me out of my present predicament. I really shouldn't have spent so much money, but I think I'll be able to squeeze through, even though I may have to borrow at the end of the month. Page 2. I'm glad, sweetness, that you derived so much pleasure from the snaps, and I said this yesterday, I'll take that Claire Pruitt picture next week. First, I must get Adele's shoes, as her present ones are positively a mess. I'm against your suggestion to melt your school ring and make Adele a baby ring. I'd rather melt your school ring and remake a nice ring for you, very much, if you don't mind. I'm not going to buy Adele any jewelry at the moment, and perhaps we'll get to buy her that together in the near future. Hope you're in accordance, sweet, as it does mean quite a bit to me. Don't worry, honey, I'll squeeze in all the chocolate I can, and have asked Ruth, she does all the shopping and pulls all the strings for such things, to get me a box of Milky Ways, Mars, etc., or whatever she can get her hands on. As I said before, I have a box of Stevens chocolates on hand, and have ordered another box of chocolates and a box of chocolate straws. I thought your Valentine offering very cute, dear, very cute indeed. As for saying anything fresh, don't worry, I'm not bashful with you. I don't like to say fresh things anyway, unless you're right here, and then I'll really get fresh. Harry and Goldie went downtown to buy him a hat to match his coat, or rather go with his coat. I was supposed to go to Marshall Street with Mom this evening, if the checks came. Ray came over for dinner and took Mom in town to see a show, Jane Eyre, with 2 passes Mickey had given her. They had intended to go shopping first, time permitting, but time didn't permit. Had a nice letter from Gloria today, and she hasn't heard from Jack for a long time and feels he's on his way again. Mom is kind of worried, as usual. Did I tell you that I wrote 6 letters the other day? How does the typed letter line up with the written? Don't compare. What a difference. I do have lots to say this evening, and I'm glad I'm able to type such a longie. This will never get into the mail tonight. I'm very tired now and making too many errors, as it is past 9. I told Mom to dash off and had to do the dishes and put Adele to bed. I washed as many dishes as Adele would let me while she was up and had to leave it till I got her to bed. Then the sink stopped up, and I said the hell with it and sat down to type. That brings me up to date, baby, except that I still have to wash a few things before hitting the hay. Adele wet all her overalls while I was gone. Did in her panties and whatnot. Just shows you the care a mother gives a child. Goldie never offers to stay with Adele or even watch her, and is terribly finicky about doing any sort of laborious work in the house. She even saves the ironing board for Harry to put away. I won't judge severely, as she is pregnant, but nevertheless she isn't inclined to be overly ambitious. On several occasions I could have gotten out had she offered to just look on Adele, but nothing doing. I still don't like to leave her with Mom, although I trust Mom with her more than I did before, except that Mom can't take her up and down the steps, and that's one of the more important reasons. I feel best when I leave her with Ruth or my mom, and have come to depend on them exclusively when I wish to leave her. Adele, her carriage, and high chair are being moved to my mother's so that I may work all day tomorrow. I forgot to tell you that I weighed myself recently after Adele's illness and weighed 118, which is pretty good. I think I dropped a few pounds while she was ill, and I'm doing my best to put it on again. I think my bust has developed a bit. At least Mom mentioned it. So there now. Think I'm fresh? Boy, I'd like to read your mind right now. Sarah and Betty have been perfectly wonderful to me, Phil, and they shall be my everlasting friends for it. They have been a great help to bolster my crumbling morale since our separation, and I appreciate it no end. Room to send all my love, precious Phil, and a kiss from Adele, as some call her. Your Ev. Philip to Evelyn, March 1st, 1944. My own darling, today I am CQ once more. The first day of any month is usually a busy one for me. This 1st of March was no exception. What with soldiers' deposits, money to be cabled home for those desiring it, reports to get out, etc., it was a very full day. I had very good hopes that today would bring the jackpot, but there was no mail at all. This is the 6th mail-less day for me, except for that V-mail I received yesterday. However, I hope I shall find enough to talk about to fill this page. I think you would consider that a pretty big letter, wouldn't you, sweet? I had a hell of a time just now trying to get a fire started, and only succeeded after fooling around with it for about an hour or so. I still have the bunk to make up. If I manage to finish this by then, I expect to hit the hay by 10 o'clock. At first, I had every intention of writing all those letters I owe to my correspondents, but I'm much too tired for that, and somehow the time slips by almost unnoticed. It would take me to the small hours of the morning to knock out the 3 or 4 letters I owe. The picture at the theater is Red Skelton in Whistling in Brooklyn. Red Barnhart had asked me to go with him, but since I am CQ tonight, I couldn't accompany him. I must rise early, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, to kind of do the chores of a bugler without a bugle. Needless to say, it is a thankless job, bugle or not. Last night I invested what little I could afford and lost. All I have to my name now is a couple of pounds. Hope Eddie doesn't arrange a date in London this month, 'cause then I'll be forced to borrow again, and I hate to do it. I'm surprised I haven't heard from Jack Gutkin. I've written twice to him about 3 weeks ago, but I haven't heard a thing. Page 2. Well, Chippy, here it is, the beginning of our big month, and although I had had hopes at one time that I would be back home by now, it looks very much as though I won't make it. Still, it wouldn't surprise me too much if this proves to be the decisive month. So you see, baby, I'm far from discouraged. I feel that we are nearing the end of our time of trial. Just how long it will be before I can see you, once it is all over, is difficult to say. The powers that be can't seem to make up their minds about it, but I don't think it will take more than a few months. You said a while back that you don't expect to see me home before 1945. Page 3, but I don't think you really believe that, Chippy. Maybe I'll surprise you yet. Now that I've started the second page, I'm trying hard to find thoughts enough to fill it. I might mention that I haven't received any of the packages yet. I sure could go for some chocolates right now. Or better yet, Ev, how's about taking a walk to Ben's with me for a malted milk or a sundae? At the moment, I am chewing a stick of the double mint gum that you were good enough to send along. You have no idea how precious chewing gum is over here, baby. While we're on the subject, if you can manage to get that halva, I wish you would include it in your next package. Send as much as you are able, because there are plenty of guys here to help me eat it. It is very quiet here in the orderly room. The stove is red hot now, and the heat feels good. Red was just in to inform me that the picture was very funny. He didn't stay long because he's in the throes of frying a quail and a rabbit that he shot while hunting yesterday. Here he comes again. He has a piece of the quail that he wants me to taste, but I don't care for it. I told him I was just talking about him. He says hello. It's after 10 o'clock now, sweet, and my bunk still isn't made up. So I'll say good night now. A great big hug and kiss for the pumpkin. My love to all, and the same old brand of love for you, my chippy. Your devoted hubby, Phil. P.S. I'm fresh out of airmail envelopes. Hope this free mail reaches you just as promptly. Letter from Ann Furr, Phil's cousin, dated March 1st, 1944, Wednesday night. Dear Cousin Phil, how are you? I received a letter from Evelyn, and upon request, I got your address and the addresses of your cousins also. So you are in England, and I understand that you contacted Jack. I hope you both finally get to see one another. I bet there would be plenty to talk about. I sent the kid your address, and so did Evelyn send you Jack's. My two brother-in-laws are somewhere in England also, and in my next letter to you I'll send you their addresses. One's a staff sergeant, and the other a corporal. Two swell guys. First, I hope you get to see Jack. I hear your kid is adorable. We received a letter from your ma, and she raves about her. You must be a mighty proud daddy. I guess Evelyn wrote you that my husband is in North Africa, but he doesn't expect to stay there long. I'll give you his address anyway. Private Carl J. Furr, 3289-3347, 6702nd LBTS, APO 600, care of PM, New York. Every time I get mail, he has another number. Well, cuz, I'll have to say so long for now. God bless you, and may this whole mess be over real soon so that we can all be together again in the very near future. Your cousin, Ann. Regards from the folks. Keep your chin up.
Mein lieber und Herrn Sohn Philipp, ich kann dir schreiben, als wir sind alle, jeder gut, gesund und gern von dir. Gut zu hören von dein, mein lieber Sohn, ich hab dein Lieben und Teilen Letter gelesen mit großem Vergnügen. Hören von dein gesund und von dein süßen jüdischen Schreiben. Jede Welt ist heilig und unherzig. Ich bete dir, Sohn, vergib mir, was ich hab dir gleich nicht geantwortet. Ganzen Tag, wie du weißt, bin ich busy mit dem Sapper und Haus, Arbeit und ich erwähnt, busy mit dem Sapper und Hausarbeit. Und ein Event bin ich teut, setze ich sich weg, lehnt der Radio, auffressen und also geht weg die Tag mit die Event. Nu und bald welch wen ger a busy lady wille ettel expected alle Tag wie wenn sie wird davon gehen ein Hospital, welch dein davon gehen ahim sein mit Paul und kochen Suppers und nachher als sie wird kommen wird kalmen gehen wird kommen Goldies nächste, weil ich dich geweiß werden busy. Gott soll geben, ich soll viel gut Herrn Gutes von dir mit dein Deiken bin ich zufrieden zu sein, busy. Ein also ne fein lieber Sohn, ich hab nicht gehabt von Deiken. 3 Wochen kein Leder und der hat mir gekostet viel gesund. Nur jetzt hab ich, danke Gott, gut gehört, a guten Leder von euch und alles ist alright. Er hat nicht geschrieben, weil er hat gedacht, driven vor dem Base. Will nicht, ach hat als er gewinnen sehr busy. Nu, soll ich dir noch schreiben von dir Allotment? Hat dir Evelyn geschrieben? Ich weiß, als dies wird dir verschaffen Freude. Nur Gott soll geben, als die wer Gott soll sich Feind schein nächste Woche, will ich sein Asach mehr zufrieden. Und des will Herrn Goldi seinen Gewinn ein Vergibnis hat, doch dir schein ich miss Tamen Evelyn geschrieben, ich was as Evelyn verfangt, ger nicht zu schreiben dir. Therefore hab ich sehr wenig zu schreiben, nur das kann ich dir ja sagen, als dein Tochter Adele ist mein gänster Vergnügen. Sie ist ein Doll und sehr klug und sehr süß. Sie soll nur sein mit langen Jahren, nur Masel soll sein groß, als du sollst kommen heim. Amen. Gern Gesundheit. Amen. Phil, Adele ist noch was aufgestanden von ihr Äftenen. Fischerle, ein und sie ist gelaufen in Kitchen und hat gesehen, wie ich schreib dir dem Letter. Sagt sie, da, die da. A gesund auf ihr Käppele. Amen. Grüß dir von allem und ich bete dir, Philippke, wenn du wirst haben Zeit, schreib mir a jüdischen Briefele. Der von dein Glück wünsch ich dir, Mama. Ja, Philipp, schreib mir, was soll ich dir schicken für dein Birthday?